think.
Me.
All right,
We are using Zoom for this meeting, which allows for, well, sorry, I'm gonna establish that we have a quorum. With Bert, John, myself, and Sue here, and Veronica here, sorry. We are using Zoom for this meeting, which allows for public participation in the meeting as an attendee. I can request that members from the public provide their names for the purpose of keeping accurate minutes of the meeting. Attendees must register to participate. The registration link is unique to the meeting. The registration link can be found in the description of the Nantucket Government TV YouTube live feed for the meeting. Attendees will join in listening mode. They can click and raise their hand button if they wish to speak. Their chair will call on those who have raised their hands in the order that they are raised. All questions should be directed to the chair. Confirming member access. As a preliminary matter, this is Dorothy Hertz, Chair of the Contract Review Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members and persons anticipated in the agenda are present and can hear me. John Bawash.
Here.
Bert.
here,
So sweet. Veronica.
Here.
Sue.
Here.
And I am here. Staff, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Anne. Here. Jericho.
here,
Anticipated speakers in the agenda, please respond in the affirmative. Amanda,
Here.
can you say your full name?
Oh, Amanda Wright, Fairwinds.
Elise,
Elise Norton, Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention.
Michael,
Michael Kozort, Our House, Nantucket.
Karen,
Hi, Karen Latimer, Health Imperatives.
good afternoon. This is an open meeting of the Contract Review Committee is being conducted hybrid pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2023. Ensuring public assets does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will feature public comment. For this meeting of the Contract Review Committee is being conveyed by video conference via the Zoom app as posted on the town's website, identifying how the public may join. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that all attendees are participating. No, that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured in the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda, but before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective, clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, I will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, question, or motion. Please hold until your name is called further. Please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in a conversation with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. After members have spoken, the chair will afford public comment to those members of the public that have joined the meeting via Zoom. Members of the public who wish to speak must state their names and be acknowledged by and speak through the chair. Finally, each vote taken on this meeting will be conducted by a roll call vote. Oh. That's 10 minutes out of every meeting. Can I get an approval of the agenda?
So moved.
I move,
Second.
Whoa. Sue,
So moved.
Bert,
second,
Sue,
Aye.
Bert,
aye,
John,
Aye.
Veronica,
Aye.
and I say aye. We're gonna discuss the survey questions. The one thing that is other business that's not on here, I'm gonna just make a little bit of change and just say to everybody, congratulations on us getting through Article 8 without being called. That's big. It's a big step, yes. And to everybody that showed up at town meeting, that was quite a town meeting. But a lot got accomplished.
Amen for only 2 days.
right?
Yeah, it was, I think it was a bittersweet town meeting. But very well, you know, so I'm gonna go on to discuss, other business as it's going until Joanna gets here, Jericho.
Yeah.
So I have had multiple conversations with Brian. I'm assuming that, I know that you've had some email
Mhm.
conversations with him. The RFI that we sent out, is not gonna be called an RFI. It is gonna be called an RFEI. Which is, the last is for expression of interest. Like what the last two words mean.
I got two.
Right.
And it's request for expression of interest. That will be posted on, and Jericho, I think the one that you sent him was not accurate. I sent him the accurate one.
That was the most recent one I had available at the time.
Because I thought that Joanna sent you an updated one, so I sent him the updated one.
Okay.
And we dated it today.
Perfect.
And so with that date, it's a little bit, there's a lot more information in it. And so if anybody else didn't get it this out there, what I'm gonna do right now is send it to Jericho, because then Jericho. We thought that Joanna sent it out in an email to you, but we updated the date today. And turned it into an RFEI this afternoon, just before the meeting, because I got off. Because Brian wanted it as an RFEI. So I'm gonna forward this to you.
And I will drop it in the chat for everyone it can go to everyone who's attending.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
I'll drop it in the chat and then I will send an email as well.
Thank you.
Do you want me to send it to Ann too?
Sure.
You make sure to send it to the rest of the,
Yeah. I'll just drop it in the distro list.
So this is gonna go, what? We've gotten permission to post it?
I have not
No,
seen,
I'm saying we got permission this afternoon to post this,
okay,
and they're gonna put it on the website.
okay. And then are we still anticipating the May 31st collection of the RFEIs?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. The other one said May 15th that you sent him, and so it was May 31st. Can you see if you got that, Jennifer?
I guess a question if people have a problem with May 31st, getting it done.
Well, usually if you get, we only give 2 weeks for an RFI. I mean, for a RFP.
wait.
Yeah. So I think that we're giving them over 2 weeks. I think it's adequate time. Jonathan, did you get it?
I did, and I'm about to drop it in chat. So the updated RFEI is in the chat for anyone who wants to take a look at it, and then I will send it to committee members right now.
We were just discussing.
and can we screen share? it, maybe?
I will screen share.
RFEI. And it just got shared with everybody. And I explained that you updated the date on it and updated it as an RFEI instead of an RFI.
Yes.
And I explained to Jericho that that was after a discussion with Brian today about it. And I also say that it was posted, that he's gonna post it on the website.
Okay.
And that we have permission to post it as an ad. And so, Ann, how does that process go?
it- Person. Second one, wait.
Can you explain?
It's put in the INM to run 2 consecutive weeks. And then
Okay.
people, so it won't go in obviously until.
So does May
next year.
31st give us enough time
What's
if
next?
it goes in 2 weeks?
It can go for longer than 2 weeks. It needs to go 2 consecutive Thursdays. So if it went this week, that would be what?
We
The
can't go this, because
Yeah,
that's
go
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
so it would be the following week.
so that would be from the 18th to 25th, and it would
So I
be,
think we have to change the date
The
date
date
of
of
June.
the date.
the
First.
week in June.
it's the
17th, 24th, and 31st will be 3 consecutive Thursdays, right?
would be 18, 25th, 1st.
So you do it for 3 weeks or 2 weeks?
It has to go for 2 consecutive Thursdays. So if it goes in on the 18th, the next week would be the 25th, the week after would be the 1st of June.
So it will only be 1 week after the second posting?
And this is just for the RFEI, not for the full RFPs, correct?
Yeah, it's just, it's a RFEI.
Let me share this RFEI on the screen.
So when's the date then?
It has, the only thing that's changed is the name of it and the date.
Oh, I thought you said
No.
there was additional data and information.
The
on it.
date, no, wait, the data that he sent to Brian was different than the data that we gone
Okay.
out, and so so I sent it to Jericho explaining that the document that he sent was not the correct.
The
one.
last one I had was the one you emailed me 5/5. I hadn't seen another version since then. Which is fine. That's just no big deal.
Okay,
Okay, so the one that is going up right now is the one that
I just sent.
you sent to me today, that I sent to Brian. It's going up.
Okay,
This is RFEI 5/10/23.
But then don't you need to change the date in it?
We're gonna have to change the date.
well, not the bottom.
On this one, we'll have to change the date from the 31st,
To the 1st of June.
because now that Anne, let's run through this again.
I will send it tomorrow to the INM, but it won't go into the paper until next Thursday, so
Which is
it's
18,
okay, and it will run for two Thursdays, or do you want it to run for 3?
2 Thursdays, which is the 25th.
Okay,
Okay,
18 and 25, yeah.
and then,
so
so,
do back the 31st?
no, they won't be back the 31st, because the fact that it's the 25th, that gives them 6 days, so we'll move it into the first week of June.
So it would be first posted on the 18th, the
Mhm.
second week would be the 25th, and then for the full 2 weeks, it would be.
We'll give it for
collected on the
June
1st.
8th.
I think, yeah, we could do, June 8th would give it a total of 3 weeks of response time.
Yeah, June 8th is.
It's kinder.
Right?
It is a new grant that has no historical precedent, so it might be a little more difficult to write requests for.
Right.
RFP, this is the RFEI, this is not the RFP. So what this will help us. Part of it is in writing our RFP.
All right, so we've got scope of funding, 175K, interest in the type of service you would provide and would like to request information from you. We are currently in the process of evaluating potential service providers to support a collaboration we are developing regarding community wellness and substance misuse education.
Can somebody mute?
Oh,
I
hey,
got it.
where's
Hey,
my-
Bert, you gotta mute hands up.
I,
Yeah, right. Socially unacceptable.
Sorry. Feel bad muting someone when they're AFK, but to substitute, we're developing regarding community wellness and substance misuse education. Our goal is to influence behavior, self-awareness, safety, and access to resources that impact and create supports for a healthy community and lifelong wellness. We would appreciate it if you could share the following information: agency, organization, mission and vision, programming offerings, programming's proposed overview, audience served, 0 to 25 age, 0 to 25 years old, apologies, period for implementation, fiscal year 2024 must take place during this period.
Can you spell that out? Most people don't understand what FY 2024 is because
Sure.
a lot of people go January 1 to December 31st. Ours starts July 1, 2023.
Fiscal year 2023. Fiscal year 2024. Do we want to get more granular than this? And I
Yeah.
don't know if we're doing all the
July 1.
July 1 to, just checking.
It's on different fiscal years.
July 1, 2020, 23 to May,
June 30th.
June 30th.
June 30th.
I know my months, apparently. 31,
30.
June 30. You don't know your months.
January, February, March, April,
30 days has September, April, June.
let's see, January 2024. Must take place during this period, and yeah, that would be inclusive of the school year, so we don't need to add any extra detail there. Draft budget to include support required materials, translation, staffing, facility rentals, etc. I think we need to emphasize the draft nature of that.
Or proposed budget.
Are
Proposed
we-
Proposed budget.
Are we interested in programs serving parents of 0 to 25?
No.
No,
No.
okay.
Audience served,
do
I think
propose.
that if, we don't want to put that in there, but some of the programs that might be available will be for parents. We just don't want to put that into that scope, because I think if somebody looks
It's
within it,
confusing.
they'll see it.
It may end up being a parent and child
Right.
type of thing.
Or
I
a
would
parent,
say-
parent,
I'd say proposed budget, not draft budget. I'd say
We good with that? Proposed?
To where, I'm
Some
sorry.
of an idea, I'd say.
Instead of
proposed
draft.
budget Instead of draft.
I think we had it last time we changed it.
I think, I think,
Because it's not the
it's
RFP.
not the RFP, I think a draft budget is
Okay.
fine, yes.
Required collaboration, partner and brainstorm with each other.
That's confusing.
This needs to be, I think this needs to be written, identify partners and collaboration options,
Yes. because-
something like that.
Because that takes the school out of it, because they can't legally, financially work with somebody, but somebody can come in and work with the school, so it's not. This
Say
is a
what?
little
Say it again?
confusing.
What can't they do?
They can't take money for a project. They have to have people work with them for a project. So I'm just,
Right, they don't have to apply for it, but their partner does.
yeah, so this looks like sort of like two outside agencies have to work together as opposed to the school's not that agency. They're the receiver of agencies.
Well, there
that
is-
Work with them.
But the school can work with an agency.
It can, but that's not what that's not what I get from reading that.
I think the,
Identify partner organizations and brainstorm with each other.
because we want them to come back with the people they're partnering with,
It
yes?
could be the school, but that's not an agency.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
My
I-
concern is.
We want to be as, when this initial writing, it just
We
partner,
want to identify the partner organization.
okay.
Yes, so that's probably the better way of writing it.
Identify partner organizations and brainstorm
other
collaborative
agencies.
programming.
And then my question is, so is it, if we were to partner with, say, ASAP,
Mhm.
then do we submit it
Take
or?
that parentheses out.
We'll get to that in a minute.
We want to take the parentheses
I
out?
want to take that whole phrase out.
We're good with that?
Wait, because we've already
No.
done this 3 or 4 times,
Yes,
so
I
let's.
know, minimum, but I wouldn't say agencies,
So go back, repeat
I was
organization.
Organization then.
two organizations working together, that works better.
It may be helpful for us to supply a general example here of what we're looking for. So for example,
School and ASAP.
school and ASAP, or like a
ASAP.
Fairwinds and the community foundation, or not community
No.
foundation, the the Conservation Foundation for Nature Walk,
Could be
something like
anything.
that.
Well, maybe we could send out a list, of them, but they're so different. It could be
Yeah,
somebody
but
in
this
the,
week-
and
Yeah.
the church.
If we do a list.
Yeah, I
we're
think-
Leaving somebody out.
It
so.
has to,
So I think
I think it should say something about
Two nonprofits, a
two
school and a nonprofit.
organizations.
But just organizations, it covers the gamut.
Okay. With the, maybe a partner with an organization within this age, that works within this age frame.
Yeah.
Hmm?
Because it-
You were.
No, that doesn't
No.
work. The Conservation Foundation doesn't.
Because you could work with Linda
that's,
Loring.
but if they're
right?
doing nature walks for kids, that would
I
be,
don't want to get too granular.
Yeah.
On an RFI.
the
But
only.
We need them to understand that one organization can't apply.
Right, he's got minimum 2 organizations working together to apply for the grant. There you go.
Okay, commitment to monthly meeting with the CRC for collaborative.
Yeah.
Collaborative outcomes. Any additional information you think would be helpful? Please provide us this information by, and we are looking for now a June, is it June 8th?
Yes.
No. You can't put a after that, you just put a comma.
You want to just go June 9th, which is a Friday.
So June 8th.
Okay. June 8th, we'll just go leave it without
Do you tell them
the.
where they submit it?
Yeah, that way we have to identify, I would suggest we either use the human services email address or Ann and myself for redundancy.
I mean, just that we do, same as we do. for the-
You're gonna put down emails, right?
Please submit your RFEI to.
It can also be dropped off.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we gotta put the address down, because people keep saying,
And
where's the warehouse?
oops. Okay, cs-ma.gov.
Or
Physical copies can be delivered to 131 Pleasant Street. Attention. Human Services. Is that acceptable?
yeah,
On the bottom, yeah.
Okay.
Can we just go through it again, make sure everything's,
So May 10, 2023, from Town of Nantucket.
You don't normally in an RFI put any of their contract review committee. Contract review committee, yes, but not anybody members. That is not normal in an RFI.
Okay. 2 human service agencies serving Nantucket.
Thank you, Slash.
RFEI, focus on connection. I think that's fine as a theme statement. Scope of funding, we just reviewed. We are just intended for service providers to support. Then agency or organization, mission and vision, program offering / programs proposed.
Should it say agencies or organizations?
I would just say organization, you take agency out all the way through this.
I am
No, I think we have to keep it because there are agencies in this.
program offerings, programs proposed, overview. We should probably give word count ideas based on how much detail we want as a minimum X words.
Per count.
Do we want
Do it
them
per
listening?
separate, but that's it.
Okay.
Do we really want them to list their program offerings?
Relevant, maybe.
Like, do we care what they've been doing?
We just
and
want
more
the
what they are.
proposed. We're not even
proposing?
looking for.
Proposed.
Yeah, propose. That's all we're doing.
And I would suggest that we just reverse the order of proposed programs.
Proposed program.
Yeah.
And maybe they're a 500-word limit or something like that.
Do that,
I will add
not an RFI.
brief
Do things on the.
overview.
No, just overview.
Okay.
Just write overview.
Because some people might not give us their recommendation.
Audience served, 0 to within 0 to 25 years old, because this looks like it potentially could be interpreted as being only things that apply to that entire
Want to
range.
say target age group 0 to 25,
Target,
make more sense.
target
Ages.
ages, targeted ages for programming.
Well, why do we rereading this whole thing right now? Yeah, I
Okay.
thought audience served was perfectly all right.
Okay, then we're good. I don't want to belabor it. I just get nitpicky when it comes to copy editing.
Can I ask one question? I'm not part of the CRC, but.
Please.
Is it okay for me to speak?
Yeah, you
Okay.
have a question, yes?
Yeah, if the required collaboration is like so vital to applying, should it not be closer to the top of the list of things like? Because now we're saying agencies and organizations plural, but then it like if I don't get to question 6 till way down the
Yeah,
line.
you've already done.
How do I know that I'm also supposed to include like my partner organization? What do
think
other
that's
people
smart.
think
That
about
should
that?
be
I don't
first.
want to like, now that we're at this point in this.
Yeah, no, but you're not first, because
Once you-
That's a smart point.
Yeah, once you start the editing process. Okay, let's, do we
Okay.
First.
put that first?
That's just it's an idea, so let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I think it should go first only because why go through the rest of it if you don't have somebody you're gonna collaborate?
I think that if you're, I wouldn't put it first. I think if anything, it
Second.
would go second.
Yeah.
It would not go first.
Okay, are we,
Oh, wait, can I ask everybody in the board, Sue, how do you feel about that?
I like second.
Okay, Joanna,
Second's fine.
Veronica,
Second's fine.
John,
Second's fine.
Bert,
Does he have to?
We muted.
Fine.
fabulous, thanks,
I'm first, but that's me.
and Linda,
First.
you want first?
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything renumbered properly? Okay, we're good.
Always nice when that works out.
I know, and it never
Haven't even
does. It never does. Okay. I'm gonna save this, send it back.
You send it back to me and Joanna?
So I'm gonna send this back and then I'm gonna add the meeting edits. 5:10, or we'll just do.
Just send me,
save
just resave it.
as,
Yeah, it's already today.
That's fine.
Well, we want to differentiate from the other copy so that we don't confuse
So
them.
then put final on it.
Final.
Say final.
And send it to me, because I'm gonna.
Okay, I can do the rest of it off, not in front of everybody.
Cool.
I'm gonna stop the share.
Good.
Where is the damn stop share button? There we go. Okay.
Right, what else we doing? I just happened to get, guys, I just happened to get a text message from the person I'm sending this to, so I'm letting him know I'm sending an updated one right now. Okay.
Here's the revised edition in the chat, and I'm now sending it along to.
You really should send it to everybody.
Well, right now, let's just get this out and then we can have it sent from Ann out to everybody.
I'm just sending it out from the mailing list to everybody should have it. It'll go to you guys as well.
And all the guys, the stakeholders that have been here last couple of times.
Those
Yeah,
will
but
be,
you send it first to us.
those will be a second,
And send it out.
that'll be a second email for the everybody else. It's good, we can continue on.
I'm just gonna.
She's doing her thing too.
Is just out.
Okay, we had survey questions on the agenda. Two other things that came up today in conversation that I'm gonna take that were not known 48 hours beforehand. Was I did ask the question today about whether we can have one grant recipient to delegate funds, and that can happen. As long as it's.
How do we select that organization
Well,
and
that
how
would
do
be
we
up
pay
to
them?
us to select the organization, but that can happen. The question was whether or not that legally could happen. And the answer is yes, that can legally happen. It's just never really happened before. And it's a different process, but it can happen.
How will the administration cost be deducted from this? Because both of the agencies I spoke to about doing this have required a fee for doing the extra work.
What two agencies?
Both the community school and then in previous discussions with community fund as well.
Okay, so right now, neither one of those, right now, I don't know that those are gonna be the recipients, but it's just putting it on the table since we asked that question last time. And I think when we get to that stage, we'll have a better idea. But whether or not that could happen was the question. The answer is yes, it may. We also came up with the question about whether we got state and federal, if we got a state or federal grant, how that could happen. And yes, the town could, through a different way, be the holder of that grant and delegate the funds.
The way we've done it with RVEI and with a couple of smaller grants for COA were all that there was a grant account set up and then it was still subject to the same reporting requirements as all of the other grant monies that we had.
I don't think it's had anything to do with whether it would have the same. I think it would end up going through the same kind of grant process as the CRC does if it's town funding on the town, if the town got hold of a grant, if we wrote a grant and got the money and it went to the town, it would go through the same process as the contract review committee does it. It's just as to whether or not the town would take that grant. And the answer was yes, the town could take that grant and then delegate it to what we were requesting it be delegated to, just like the CRC funds are delegated.
I have a question,
Okay,
if you're ready.
Yep.
So as we're a committee, do we have the authority to write grants to go out looking for funding outside?
we actually do have the authority to write a grant. And it's not an authority, it's whether or not we as an organization choose to go seek a grant for human services. We can do it. We can also hire some, there are no funds available in town funding to do it. So that's off the table. Private funding can be accepted by the town. as a grant writing, as long as it's 100%. So let's say somebody says, I'm gonna charge you $10,000 to write a grant. If somebody gifts the town $10,000 to write that grant, then that grant can be done. But if it's, I should tell you that if it's anything over 10,000, it has to go out to procurement. So you can't handpick the person to write the grant. If it's less than that, then you can gift the money. The money can be gifted, but it has to be gifted 100%. Like you can't get half of the cost or 3/4 of the
Right,
cost. You have
because
to
we
get
don't
the
have a
cost.
budget to,
There's no budget, no town funding to write grants.
Right.
So, but we can write a grant as an organization, which I think would be a great challenge and would also put us on the side of understanding how everybody else has to do this process and maybe give us a better eye on the process of what these organizations do for us. And maybe show the community how serious we are as an organization too, as to go out and seek this funding or additional funding for these programs. So, these things came up in a conversation today. I was trying to get all the questions that everybody had asked. Taken care of, so.
Just to clarify what you're saying, as CRC, we can submit a grant application.
We can submit a grant application to, let's say, a state organization or a federal organization on behalf of the town for funding.
As long as it goes through Libby.
As long as it goes to the procurement officer and then, yeah, and the board of selectmen, I think would have to approve the fact that we were writing a grant.
Okay, thank you.
Jess.
So I followed up on that federal grant with Valerie, the grant writer that you all met, and she said that that was. Her word was bonkers, that it wasn't a good grant for us to apply for because we would not be competitive in terms of the other communities that were applying for it. She also said that the threshold for proof of need for rural Nantucket would be not likely approved, and that, you know, the heavy lift on a federal grant wasn't worth the effort. However, she said that by next meeting, which is Monday the 15th, she'll have a list of grants from the state that she recommends we apply for. And she's going to help us.
Right?
So that's cool. And then I followed up with WPI and we're approved. Right? Do you understand that differently?
Yeah, no, we are good to
So
go.
I think this is a good segue into the survey questions for the community, because I don't think we need to do that. Now WPI is going to come in the fall and do a comprehensive survey to the community around behavioral health needs.
And I have a meeting with the principal in June 1st to discuss that more. I'd like to talk to you just so we have the shared idea of what we're doing ahead of that. But yeah, that was approved through Greg and through WPI. So we've got that.
That's really cool.
I don't know what the
Well done.
budget or scope of that's gonna be. That's what I have to, that's what the June meeting will be, to explain the parameters of it. But it does look like a huge amount of potential labor and data process, like
So
data analysis.
you don't have to, you don't pay them any money, right? So it's free. So there's not really a budget needed.
Mhm.
There will be supervision required.
The scope, like how many man hour, like what they're gonna be putting into it, what their data collect, like to get to it on that. Like, I don't know exactly what they've done in this before, so I was gonna have a meeting with them in June, and I wanna just get our ducks in a row, so
Yeah,
we're.
I think that makes sense, but I think that, as a person who is working on this as well, but from a different angle, I think the level of, so they're gonna be here in person, they get their own housing, right? The students, we'll get 4 students. They will have a work schedule of Monday through Friday, like a regular work schedule. They require them to have a 1-hour check-in with their sort of supervisor. I think it would be really cool if the group was their supervisor. I think that you're gonna have to find them a workspace and you're gonna be their day-to-day contact.
They have a workspace, they do it in the back of our building, at the building department, they always work out at a conference room
Okay,
when they're here.
great, but I think it would be great if they met with the committee once a week. And, because that's the requirement for Mariah Mitchell.
Are we okay with adding a once a week meeting for the
It's a week.
for the?
I mean, if we can get a quorum to it, why not?
Okay, I'm fine with that. I just want to double check. I'm happy to serve as the liaison for the day to day. That's not a problem at all.
And this is mid-October to like the second week or third week in December.
It's October 24th to December 10th.
Yep.
So then what I think that we have to do after, well, the part that I think that we can do for support of this is to go talk to Current and Daybreak. And to start to identify who the distributors of the survey would be, and if they're, like, what that might look like, so we can give that information in the. So basically, we have to submit like a prospectus to WPI that says all these things, like, here's the data that we're looking for, here's who the target people that you might survey is, and here's how we want to get the survey out. And then they do all the work.
So we have to come up basically on what we're looking for as an organization, for
Not
them
a
to write a question.
Yes, we have to give them, I think that would be a great meeting, because there's a kickoff meeting too. Where we're saying, here's what we're trying to accomplish. You guys are coming up with the questions and executing the survey.
Okay.
And they will begin to work on this project in April.
Yep.
So they'll work off-site on this. And then when they show up, they're basically hitting the ground running.
So unbelievably, what's really cool about this is we'll have the results of this survey theoretically before we award any grants next year.
Any CRC grants?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's really
Huge.
awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's major. Especially if additional funding comes forward for this initiative.
Mhm.
So we have to come up with, so is some of that questions that we're asking in the data,
Oh,
the same as the same questions that we've been asking, like, we want the same information that we've been putting together with all the,
Well, I think that we
Points
would
that we
put
put out.
together a packet of all this that we've done. So that they kind of know that, a copy of RFP, like a copy of what grants we've given historically, so that they have all that background information. So that they know the programs that exist and they can help to design the questions.
So I have a question.
yeah, go ahead.
So with this data, with the survey we were doing, we would have had data to inform this round of
Right.
disbursements, but
We will have, yeah, we would at least have information.
we'd have some information, not
I-
hard, cold data, but so do we still do the survey so that we have something to work with, or do we use the Behavioral Health Initiative survey data?
We're gonna have the survey from the agencies, which we haven't even talked about today yet, right? We have to figure out a way to get that.
So we are doing that. That's my
agency
question.
one, yes.
The agency one, not
It's
the community one.
I think I think that the agency one can go out. That is just gonna kind of give us a peek at what sort of things people are going to be applying for later, so that we can tinker the RFP process in tandem with that.
Right.
But the community survey is probably better served by doing a proper comprehensive data.
I don't
like-
disagree there.
Because I think marrying our distribution process in January, February to a survey is really a cool thing.
Yeah, I think it's great.
So they would,
Bert, do you have any comments? John?
Oh, you're still muted, John.
No,
No, I have no comments.
Okay, great.
You never hear that word muted again.
I think that this is going to be a fabulous program for the WPI students. I follow what's happening there pretty closely. That son is a graduate, and he was an IQP student on Nantucket back in 14 or 13. In the past few years, and I think it goes back, not this school year, previous school year, they had a number of student suicides on campus, and the students revolted. Basically, they said enough's enough, and they demanded changes and supports, etc. So I think that it's a very hot topic, and topic that's very close to these students. So I think it could be a very, very rewarding program for any student that's attached to this project.
It's cool.
Yeah.
I think it'll be rewarding for all of us.
Yep.
And great work in getting them.
Yep.
Join them.
John?
I think it's awesome. I think it'll give us,
Yeah.
and I think that that's valuable in order to being able to justify any of the money that we give away.
I've seen some of their other reports and stuff that they've sent WPO, the PI earlier and other things that they've done.
Hmm.
And they're very good, they're very comprehensive. The kids are really dedicated to what they're doing, so they run into them all the time, and they're doing something.
Okay. We came up with the final on the community. I think we have to agency one. We have to decide on how we're gonna send that.
We can do a couple of things. We can do direct emailings to everyone who has applied to us in the past, which I think is a good first step. We can also advertise online. An online form of that link too. We can put that on social media and then we can distribute it to I think that should cover most of the agencies that are likely to submit to us from the island. I don't know how we can get it in front of off-island people who have participated, who haven't been CRC. I don't know if that's a big concern or not.
You can put it out through the area, you can put it out through the Barron Point Association, the Town Everett Association. They all have, Madigan has 500 people on there.
Yeah, it's not as far as community. This is gonna be the
Agency.
agency one, but I don't think it necessarily has to be just the agencies.
We
On our thing, I think it should
new
be
people to be looking
whatever
at
we
this.
can, whether it's, you know,
So the ways that I can distribute information are town social media, town web pages. I could potentially take out and I actually have enough printing budget to put something in the paper if we want to put a QR link there. I don't
I
know
think
if,
we should.
okay.
I think we should.
Do you have the ability to do a constant contact?
I have some ability to do that. All of my direct mailing experience has been incredibly negative in this position, so I'm hesitant to do that. I got into a quite a bit of trouble, not quite a bit of trouble, but I got, long story short, I'm hesitant to do direct mailing like that. But if we figure out like a listserv, we want to
Do
send
we
it to
have,
everyone.
is there a list of the agencies that you have?
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone who's
yeah.
participated, they're not all gonna be current, but yeah, we have a list of,
I think that's where we need to start right now, is we need to come up with a list of all of the agencies and accurate emails. Because
I think we should send it
You
to
got
the
something from
ones that
John?
we have. Sorry. John, what were you gonna say?
No, I'm just gonna say, is there any point in putting it on something like Daybreak or Nantucket Current? It seems to me that that kind of reaches a group of people that we might not otherwise reach, but I don't know whether that's appropriate.
we want agencies and we don't want the same agencies that we've always partnered with. That's sort of one of
Well,
the,
we want agencies and organizations, so we have to be really careful on this because organizations.
how are we distinguishing between those two here? I'm just using
With
agencies. I'm just,
Reference of information, so these would be people that would be providing programs,
so
so.
we're calling it the agency survey. And we were gonna send it to any organization that has participated in CRC in the past, and then where else can we put it?
well, I think it should go to the Athenaeum.
Okay,
And just go to the historical association,
Well,
should
so
go to
the-
conservation.
The
like
Community
Warren.
Foundation keeps a list of all nonprofits.
Yeah. They have,
We
like,
could send it to
110.
them.
Contact information.
Yeah.
But what would be really cool is if maybe we should just ask Jason Rosaday to do a story on this. And just say that we, now the town meeting's over, we've been awarded the $175,000, we're doing this survey. And there's an RFI and we're encouraging, collaboration.
he attended a couple of the very early meetings on this, so he has some belief that there's a story here.
Yep.
I think we could do both. I think it'd be key to do both.
Yeah.
And at the end of the story, he can probably put a link to get, the survey or whatever. I'm sure.
The survey and the RFI.
RFI,
Yeah.
RFEI.
RFPI.
Who knew? Who knew we needed an E?
Not me until today.
We're just showing that we're paying attention.
Yeah.
Even the people that are in the gymnasium are paying attention.
Yes, they are, I heard.
It was great in the gym. I recommend it.
I just sent Jericho, I just sent the agency survey. Just to make sure that we have the same one, that you have the same document.
May 4th revision.
Hillary running around, she pushed him off the microphone. Yeah.
Who did?
Right there. He pushed the poor kid off the microphone up there. Before it was called the question. It's my article. You can't call the question. Well, Sarah called the question. It was interesting. It was an interesting town meeting. It was an interesting town meeting, a lot of angry people.
Did you get it, Jericho?
Yeah. Would you like me to share it? Just,
Yeah,
I-
just so that everybody sees, these are the questions that confirm that are going out.
and I will throw that up here so that we can all see it. So these are the same questions.
We're just making sure that everybody sees them.
And we modified them the last time.
Yeah, I don't think we need to do any wordsmithing
You're not
here.
doing any
I don't think we need to. do-
We're just letting everybody see them to see that this is what we're talking about.
So my intent is to do all of these digitally. They will all be a link to a Google form that we can collect data in.
You're gonna use like Survey Monkey?
I was just, Florencia has the town official software for this. My plan was to just send it to her and have her get it up and then get a QR code that we can distribute and a social media type shareable icon. And then what other we wanted to see if Daybreak and Current
I guess we shouldn't leave out the INN.
isn't,
No, unless they're gonna charge us some mail away.
Right.
and then we want to run it as advertisement or see if they'll do a public service.
We would have to write a press release.
Yeah,
They may do a PSA for all three of them.
Would Florencia write the press release? I'm sure that's the protocol. I'm sure they don't want us doing it.
yeah, there's a comms office forming, so some of these things are in flux, but I would need to speak with town, the current protocol is me to speak with town admin before
Can you check?
I will try. Well, I will not try, I will check. Do we, so press release about
The money and the process.
YBHG.
This is gonna be a press release from the town.
That would be
Or from
the only way we can make, we can't make we're a town body, we can't make I don't believe we can make a separate press release that doesn't go out under the, like, it would be a town.
Yeah, we can't do that without town, okay.
I think we need to check. But
Yeah, I mean, we can make a press release as a town body, I believe.
I believe we can too, because
Yeah,
contract. Coastal resiliency doesn't, what is the Concom?
but those are regulatory
Those are
boards.
Nope.
CRP is not, okay.
Or Coastal resiliency is not regulatory, it's advisory.
No, but the Concom is, and we have our regular monthly one, and so does the planning board, so does the ZBA, but those are different. We're all in charge of them, right?
So what we
We need
need
to
to
check.
find out is whether or not we can make one or whether it has to be done by the town communication office.
We
Yeah,
could probably make one, but they would have to okay it.
Well, that's.
the new media policy is to check first, then determine whether it's acceptable to contact media. And then I would ask if it's okay for us to write it or if they would prefer to write it. In practice, what that's probably gonna mean is that they'll be like, give us something to double check and then they'll release it. So, yeah,
Okay, so our hopes to get this in is to go with the same thing as next week, correct? All of this information.
So we should write a press release.
and I will check tomorrow morning if it's okay. If there's a press release available in the next couple of days, then I'll just send that straight along too and be like, hey, we're looking to release this press release in a couple of different places.
So does that mean that I have to write a press release?
I mean, I think we can write it.
You offered. I open mine now.
I'll send you a template.
Okay. Thanks.
You can fill them.
Okay,
I think that's it.
all information is, so we don't even have to worry about doing the community survey. we're gonna go over this, the agency / organization one, we will get an email list and get that out. We will also post it. Practice that we're gonna try to do by getting a article with Jason. And then seeing if we get the press release to let people know it's out.
So I'm checking with admin. How do we want to approach Daybreak?
I think you want to write, well, okay, so let's just back up a step.
I'm sorry, yeah.
I think you want to write to Margaretta and attach the RFEI and attach the survey questions and ask her to distribute them to her list.
Okay,
They should get both at the same time.
Well, she's retired, hasn't she?
Not yet.
she's
At the end
still,
of the
In
year.
the PowerPoint thing, I think all of it can go, the whole package can go to Margaretta and ask her to distribute it to her list.
Yeah, because they have a huge list.
Yeah, it's like 100 and something.
Yeah.
And it includes a lot of off-island agencies. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
We should get a list from Margaretta about them, because there may be something that we know that's not on that list, but maybe. The AAN or some other
Yeah,
thing,
they're on the list.
I'm sure,
I have the list somewhere.
I was gonna say, they're on our list.
yeah.
Let's
because
see,
they've given us-
because, yeah,
so, and then I will also check with admin about a press release.
Mhm.
Then we're also then set up the survey questions with town comms. And I am just going to send the current survey questions to Florencia. I will get a version of it before it goes live to send out to everybody, just so everybody has final approval on how the formatting and everything works. Acceptable?
Well, then we would have to vote on it again.
I don't know that we need to vote on it, but so like if we look
So
at
final
these,
vote would be if you're gonna, can we not accept or make a motion? For you to do so and then send out it
The-
out as the document from them.
the only reason I have any, I wanted to add an extra layer before it went wide was because these questions may not translate smoothly into a Google form. They might have to change, like, you know, how much community, like, they might not look exactly the same when they go on. So I wanted to give everyone one last chance to make sure that like that the formatting has not changed things past what it is. If we're comfortable with that, then as soon as I can,
Would she be able to have this done by Monday?
I
Because we're
can-
meeting on Monday and we can then vote on it then.
I cannot speak to Florencia's schedule. So I can't tell you when it will be done. I can talk to her first thing tomorrow morning and try and get it, ask her to have it done by Monday, but I won't be able to confirm that until I talk to her.
Well, we can have a press release done for one day.
Okay. I will aim for the survey to be complete by Monday when I make the request. I can't promise that's gonna happen.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody from the public have any comments for us? I was hoping to see Sherry again. Had a nice conversation with her.
Yeah, I understand.
You heard?
You're persuasive.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, let me just see if there was anybody else that had something they wanted to talk about.
I just have one thought I wanted to share with Elise Norton from the public, and I just wanted to say that I think that something, write-ups in the paper and the current are great, not only for the agencies, but also for the community to start to hear about the efforts we're making. Will be nice for them to know that we're doing.
Yeah, I agree. Nothing. Anybody else? Like anybody, Amanda?
The only thing is that I was sharing earlier is we had a doctoral student doing her fellowship, and she did a presentation to us yesterday, and she did a research project over 2 years, basically on what we've been talking about, and she has some very interesting data, which might be interesting for her to come and present.
That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So I can. read that.
If you could send the information, then we could just add it to an agenda. That would be wonderful
Yeah.
information to have. Okay, Sue, any comments?
No.
Bert, any comments?
No. Takes a while to unmute.
John,
No more.
Linda, besides your motion, do you have any comment? Any comment?
No.
Joanna,
I second the motion to adjourn.
I'm gonna let her make the motion now because I didn't let her.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Linda?
Aye.
Joanna? Aye. Bert?
Say aye, Bert.
Aye.
Oh, Veronica, I didn't ask you if you had anything to say. I'm sorry. Veronica?
I just think that this is very exciting and, you know, that we've gotten through last week and this is actually a reality. I think it's extremely exciting and looking forward to see how this unfolds. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I agree. Can you approve the motion?
I, motion to adjourn, aye.
John?
Aye,
Okay, aye. Thanks, guys.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
and I think WPI is exciting.
I think so too.
All righty, guys, thank you very much. Ending the meeting.